board. Let's see if this is actually working. All right. So after some technical difficulties, everybody, thank you for your patience. I am here live with Cammie right now. I'm just going to go ahead and post this recording in the group, and we'll figure this out for future lives where we can actually get this streamlined and figured out. But I just want to thank Cammie for coming on today. Thank you so much. I'm so humbled and honored to sort of share your story. And really, real quick before we get started, and I shared with you already, but my whole reasoning for doing more of these videos by bringing on, you know, everyday families that have found success in changing their children's diet or even their diet is because my hope is that there is at least one other family watching this that can say, oh my gosh, I can relate to that story. I've never thought about that. You know, we've done the testing. I've been racking my brain. I can't figure it out. Is it that easy? Can I just change X, Y, or Z and see, you know, some different results? So I wholly believe that everything starts with what's on our plate, right? And I know that medical attention is needed for a lot of things, but sometimes it really is just as simple as looking at what we're putting on the dinner table. So with that being said, again, I want to introduce Cammie. Cammie, please just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about where you live, your family, how many children you have.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cammie, Cammie Procopio. I live in Maryland, about an hour north of Baltimore, 45 minutes south of Pennsylvania, so I'm kind of like right smack in the middle. And I have 3 kids, a wonderful husband, and a new dog. That's going to be 1 in a couple weeks. So hopefully the puppy stage will be gone very soon. So I have 2 girls and a boy. My baby is the boy, and my 2 girls are the older 2. My first child was easy, and I feel like a lot of first children are easy, so that's way of getting onto your second and possibly your third. But my second daughter is who I'll be discussing about. She's the one that is like no other I know. And she's a strong-willed young girl. And we learned how to use nutrition to change her from being the aggressive, strong-willed girl to now being a positive role model, strong-willed girl. So that's what we'll be talking about.
Awesome. So why don't you kind of take us back to when you started to see a change in her behavior? Because I know when we previously talked, you know, it wasn't as if she came out of the womb this way, right? I mean, I know you mentioned she was always kind of strong-willed, but you saw a dramatic change. So why don't you take us to that time and place and just sort of maybe some of the steps that you took to try to figure it out?
So she always was kind of, that strong-willed child. She always kind of was stubborn. But she was really intelligent and really good in school and loved preschool. And this starts back when she started preschool. Her first year was wonderful, had no problems. She had great friends. The second year, midway through the year, probably right after the holidays, it was a huge change. Her aggression actually came out very physical and very negative towards others, towards friends, towards people that she liked, towards her teachers. All of a sudden, she had severe separation anxiety. Never before. She just would go right into preschool. Hi, Mom, barely give me a hug. Bye, and I'll see you. And then all of a sudden, we had to like pry her off of me. She would hold on so tight, kicking and screaming, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And that was just so weird. It's never happened before.
And how old was she at the time?
Oh, she was 5 at the time.
Okay.
And there were a couple catalysts that happened. Her teacher went on leave. So I was thinking, okay, maybe these things are contributing to that. But why all of a sudden get separation anxiety? I had a couple friends that talked to me about PANDAS. So I thought, okay, well, maybe we'll look into everything. So I did reward charts with her, sticker charts. I did trying to verbalize her feelings and what feelings say and how they feel and how you express those feelings, trying to get her to be able to express how she's feeling
Mhm.
verbally instead of physically. Nothing was working. Even at home, we were walking on eggshells. If we say one thing, are we going to blow her off? Is she going to have a complete temper tantrum? Is she going to hit me? Is she going to hit her brother and sister? And then one day I was thinking, okay, we're going to figure out, we'll do probiotics, we'll do vitamins. And I had a friend talk to me about how gluten affects mood. We took her off. And the next day, the separation anxiety was gone.
This is what
And
blows my mind. I mean,
I know.
I want to like sit with that. I don't want to just like
Sure.
because honestly, and I also don't want people to get discouraged. I want to make sure that I touch on this because that is incredible. Like to see a change so quickly. But I also don't want people to get discouraged and try it and not see a difference within 24 hours and think something's wrong, because I have to be honest, it's rare. Your story, why I'm saying it's miraculous, because I've never seen a difference so fast. But so go on. And I do want to also point out that you told me you have a psychology background. All this stuff
Yes.
you're working with. I mean, you knew what you were doing. You know, so you were really coming from it from sort of that mental, emotional standpoint. But go on. I'm sorry.
Yes. Oh, and we also did put her in therapy because I'm like, okay, well, I can't be the therapist for my own child in certain aspects. So we sent her to therapy and nothing was happening. She was diagnosed with separation anxiety and ODD, which is oppositional defiant disorder. And it just didn't sit well with me. I'm like, I know my child. This is not my child. I knew it was something else. So we tried, like I said, I tried all these things. I tried sitting down, talking with her. I tried journaling with her. I tried her doing artwork. Nothing was working. And then the gluten, I took her off, and that whole week in school that she was off of gluten, we would get reports back if she finished her paper or if she, listened to the direction the first time. And I wish I should go back and look at those because you can see the difference.
Yeah.
They were awful. And then we took her off gluten. And that following week was great. She was listening. She was sitting still. She was being kind and nice.
Now, for the people that might be saying, okay, well, what was this? Is this like 3 weeks ago and you've seen the change? So let's talk about the length of time that's passed. And
Okay.
I'd love for you to talk about, how you even tried to reintroduce gluten and sort of what happened then. So
Sure. So she's been off gluten since she was 5. She's going to be 7 soon. So it's about a year and a half. And very rarely do we have instances where she just bursts out. She is back to being her kind self. She is following directions. She is reading. She's excelling in school. Her kindergarten year was wonderful. I was afraid she wasn't going to have any friends because she was going to be mean, and she was best friends with every single girl and boy. So it was, really, as long as we keep her off the gluten, she is good. Now, she is a typical child. She will have moments. They all do. They're all still processing and still trying to figure life out. So there are moments where she is a normal kid and she may get into a fight with a friend or may argue with, her dad and I or her brother and sister, because that's just what siblings do. But it's not to the point where I have black and blue marks because she's hitting me because she's so frustrated. It's now we can sit down and we can talk about it, or she knows she needs to go and calm herself down. So she's able to process herself now, when before her brain was so foggy, she just didn't know. She couldn't figure it out. So now that she's been off for a year and a half, our house has been happier. Our family's been happier. We're able to travel and hang out with other friends and other couples. It's been a huge life-changing experience for our family, not just her.
Wow.
And then we thought, okay, this is going great. Maybe it's not gluten. Maybe she just needed to grow up a little bit. Maybe she just needed the full school as opposed to just preschool. So a couple times we've reintroduced, and we may have given her like a hot dog bun with a hot dog, or a bread with a sandwich, or a donut when her brother and sister are eating donuts and she's feeling left out. And the moment we do, we feel like it's okay. About 2 days later, she is back to not communicating effectively, acting out, being aggressive, being frustrated. And I'm like, stop it. It's the gluten, stop. So we take it out again. And it may have just been not those full 2 full days. I'm nervous, sorry. It was maybe just once or twice of gluten exposure, but it took those couple days for her body to have that in her system. And then we're like, yep, we're not giving that to her again. And then a couple days later, it gets out of her system and she's back. So we have probably tried that 2 or 3 times because it is so hard on her, especially like during school year. Now she's at birthday parties. It's very hard for her because everybody has pizza and cupcakes.
Yeah.
So we have to take our own food. And just, going out to dinner is sometimes difficult. She wants to eat what everybody else is eating. So we keep thinking we're going to try this. And by the 3rd time, I was like, 3 strikes, she's out. She's staying off. It's not worth it.
I'm curious because I don't even think we touched on this when we first talked, but do you conversate with her about how she's feeling? Does she notice the symptoms after she eats it? And how does that register with her? How does she feel?
So we tell her, and our family phrase is that she's allergic to gluten, because she can understand an allergy and being allergic to something. And we feel like it does interact in her body like an allergic reaction. Her body just doesn't handle it well. So she's so good now, she'll come up to me and say, can I eat this? Does this have gluten? Is this okay for me? So she's now used to it. Yeah. And we do talk about it. And I think at this point, it's not phasing her as much as it did before, because now she knows that she is a different person when she's on it. She can tell that she's not like we're arguing all the time when she's had gluten, and when she doesn't, we're good. So her big thing is, she tells people, I'm allergic to gluten. I can't have it. And her friends know. And by the end of last year, parents were texting saying, we're making sure that we have like chips, because potato chips aren't gluten, and fruit and things like that at birthday parties. So the parents, just through birthday parties, have been educated through this, which is really cool. I don't kind of blast it out, but when I'm there, they saw that I came with my own little applesauce pouches and gluten-free cupcakes and things like that. So it's really cool that now the parents are like, we'll make sure that she's not left out. So that's pretty cool.
And this is actually extremely interesting to me because, as you know, I had shared that my daughter was diagnosed with celiac. The interesting part is she's asymptomatic. So she has been cross-contaminated before, but we don't see really any physical symptoms. How it turns up for her is when she gets her TTG labs, when they do the blood work to test, we'll see an elevation. Whereas before it would test negative because she had been off gluten for so long. So I can tell when she's been cross-contaminated, but the symptoms don't show up. So it's interesting because for me, it can be difficult, just like you're saying, they're kids, right? They see their friends eating this stuff. And every now and again, I do get sort of the tears or the song and dance about why can't I have that? But the fact that your daughter can physically feel and see the changes in her body, it interests me to see how she, sort of internalized that, and if it kind of registered and made sense to her. Oh, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to.
And she does have, I'm sorry to interrupt. And we've noticed now that she's been off, and if she has had gluten, now she has physical symptoms. So she gets a bellyache, she gets diarrhea, and now she knows, she's like, I don't feel good when I have gluten. So she also understands that. And I think that's her way of also helping understand that I'm allergic, because not only am I mentally not feeling good, which is hard for kids to understand, but now it's equated to a physical feeling that she never really had before. Yeah. So when she starts knowing that she's sitting on the toilet for a while, she's had gluten.
Okay. Wow. Well, I am, like I said, I'm inspired. I am so grateful for you to come on here and share your family story. And like I said, hopefully it will be, you know, enlightening, motivating, inspiring, or just that sort of aha moment for another parent to say, oh my gosh, maybe I need to look into this. You know, maybe I
Mm-hmm.
can actually be a little more forthcoming with my doctor and walk in and say, what about this? You know, because a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
just don't even know what to ask for. And I tell people it's a simple blood work, you know, it's a lab that can be done. And granted, there's variations of sensitivities and whether or not you have the disease or not, but it's just being armed with that information. And if nothing else, as the parent, especially when they're young kids, we control what they eat. So we have the power, whether or
Mm-hmm.
not the doctors agree with us or not, to at least take that control and say, what if, you know, let's just
Mm-hmm.
a few weeks and see what happens. So
Yep. And that's yeah, I didn't get anything from the doctor. We did this all ourselves, and then we went to her pediatrician and said, we took her off of gluten, so we got her out of therapy. And she doesn't need it anymore. It was all diet.
good for you. That's amazing. Amazing. So I commend you. And
Thank
again,
you.
just so grateful to have you come on here, Cammie, and share your story. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to share, but I'm just blessed to have you on here.
Thank you. I feel so honored to be able to share. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free, reach out. You know, to ask the questions. If I can just help one person, it'd be amazing,
Yes.
because one person helped me.
Perfect. And like we said, this, of course, unfortunately wasn't able to be live, but when I post this, please make sure you either tag Cammie or I, post comments. We'll both be checking it. We'll be sure to answer any questions that you may have. Or, of course, you can reach out to either of us directly via Facebook or Messenger, okay? So, all right. Thank you all for listening. Again, Cammie, thank you. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
rest of your week, and God bless your family.
Thank you. Bye.